Hey there, it's bedtime, and I'm going to read you another story if that's all right. Are you ready? Great. Charlie wasn't a terrible kid by any means. He earned decent grades in school, he mostly listened to his mother, he said his pleases and his thank yous, and he would always remember to chew with his mouth closed. He was, at the same time, however, undeniably selfish. He always wanted the largest slice of pie, the newest of cool toys, and as much of the attention as his parents had to give. As a result, his younger brother, Kyle, often bore the brunt of jealous bullying. Whether it was snatching away toys and books or blaming Kyle for messes and mishaps, Charlie rarely spared a thought for his younger brother. It was the night of Christmas Eve, and Charlie lay awake in his bed. In the next year, he would be starting at a new school, and would, for the first time, be rid of his irritating little brother. He could finally make friends with all the popular kids, go out to their houses and ride bikes, without worrying about dragging his bothersome brother in tow. He smiled to himself in excitement. His imaginations were cut short, however, by a sudden thump downstairs. Charlie sat up, alert, and listened intently for more noise. After what felt like hours, Charlie clambered out of bed, confident that the coast was clear, to investigate whatever interrupted his fantasizing. He cautiously made his way down the stairs and peered out into the living room. The Christmas tree twinkled away serenely in the corner, draped with ornaments, tinsel, and lights, and dwarfed the generous pile of presents underneath. His eyes came to rest on a little stool that sat out, on which a plate of cookies and a glass of milk was carefully placed. Charlie scoffed. Stupid little Kyle, believing in Santa. Charlie hadn't believed in Santa for years. No man that size could ever fit down a chimney, let alone carry a giant sack of presents with him. Besides, Jimmy Bordeaux had laughed at him for believing in Santa back in the 3rd grade. It struck him as strange, however, that a bite was taken from one of the cookies, and that the milk had been half drank. Suddenly, Charlie heard another thump outside. He peered through the glass of the door to see a rather large figure clamber down from above. The figure was a man, a rather portly one, dressed in a bright red getup with white fur. From his face grew a large white beard and twinkled eyes brimming with near manic joy. The man spotted Charlie peeping through the glass and gave him a smile and a wave. Charlie threw open the door. "Santa?" Charlie demanded. "But you're not real." Santa Claus laughed kindly. "Oh, you must be little Charlie," he boomed. "I've heard much about you as of late." You have?" asked Charlie, suddenly nervous. "Certainly," replied Santa. "I've been meaning to speak with you, you know. I've noticed you've been a little unkind this year, especially to young Kyle." I didn't mean to," Charlie stammered. "I just—" "Actions speak louder than words," Santa replied. "But I believe you may have a chance to prove yourself yet. How would you like to come with me tonight and see what Christmas is really about?" Charlie was surprised. "With you? Like, to distribute presents? Do you really visit every house in a night?" Santa outstretched a gloved hand. "You'll see, Charlie. Come along." As soon as his hand touched Santa's, Charlie found himself in a bright red sleigh, high above the rooftops of a snowy, sleepy city. Their first stop was a modest house on the edge of town. Santa reached into his sack, and pulled out a small, carefully wrapped box. "Come with me, Charlie." Inside, the house was quiet, but filled with an air of warmth despite its simplicity. Santa placed the gift under a sparsely decorated tree and motioned for Charlie to follow him to the door of a bedroom. Peeking in, Charlie saw two kids snuggled together under a single blanket. Their shoes by the bed were worn and patched. "Why don't they have more?" Charlie whispered. Santa's face softened. "Their father works hard, but times are tough. This gift will bring them a little joy tomorrow, something to make their Christmas special." Back in the sleigh, Charlie was quiet. He had never considered what it might be like to go without. His shoes were perfectly intact, and he never had to share a bed or a blanket with his younger brother. Thank goodness. They visited more houses. A family who had recently lost a loved one, a single mother working tirelessly to provide for her children, and a little boy who wanted nothing more than a warm coat for the winter. Each stop revealed a story of struggle and resilience, and each time, Charlie's heart grew a little heavier. At one house, Santa handed Charlie a gift. "This one's for you to deliver." Charlie carried the box inside and placed it under the tree. On his way out, he noticed a picture on the wall of a smiling boy about his age. The same boy, now thinner and paler, lay sleeping on the couch, hooked up to a machine that beeped softly. An older boy, presumably an older brother, lay sleeping on the floor at his side, an open book clutched in his hands. Charlie used to read stories to Kyle too, many years ago. Stories like The Hungry Caterpillar or Goodnight Moon. "Will he be okay?" Charlie asked when he returned to the sleigh. "That's not for us to decide," Santa said gently, "but we can bring a little magic into his life, if only for a moment." Charlie felt sick to his stomach. He closed his eyes and began to think of his brother, and his mother, and his father. They were all part of his family. They were all dear to him, and he missed them terribly. He opened his eyes and turned to Santa, but was greeted not by the bright red sleigh in the star-dappled night sky, but rather the familiar walls of his own room. He blinked, perplexed. He was tucked warmly into bed. Through his window, the first rays of sunlight were creeping across the sky. He lay awake in bed, mesmerized and confused about his adventure and its abrupt end. Was it real? Any of it? As he mulled over the memories of the night, a gentle knock came at his bedroom door. It was Kyle, clutching a stuffed animal and rubbing his sleepy eyes. "Charlie!" Kyle exclaimed as he opened the door and ran up to the bed. "Where did you get that?" He pointed at Charlie's pajama shirt pocket. Charlie looked down at his pocket and withdrew a candy cane. "I don't know," he said, as he pondered it in wonder and twirled it between his hands. "But you can have it," Charlie offered. Kyle excitedly took the candy cane. "Wow, really? Thanks, Charlie. Merry Christmas." The end. Good night, sweet dreams, sleep tight.